Today on Public Eye News, authorities provide an update on the outbreak of avian influenza cases in Michigan. But first, the National Transportation Safety Board has released a report about the collision at the Mackinac Bridge that took place in 2023.
Toby Camilli will have your weather forecast for the next couple of days, and Luke Niddle will bring you today's sports breakdown. I'm Bianca Kroll.
And I'm Austin Graham, and this is Public Eye News. The National Transportation Safety Board has released a report about the 2023 crane collision at the Mackinac Bridge. On May 7, 2023, the vessel Nicolena was passing through the Straits of Mackinac while towing a barge that was transporting a crane. The report states that the captain of the Nicolena and the barge company managers failed to inform the Mackinac Bridge Authority of the crane that they were towing. According to the NSTB's investigation, the crane was 10 feet too high to pass under, resulting in a collision. The damage to the bridge was calculated to be $145,000, while the crane's damage was estimated to cost $665,000. There were no injuries or pollution reported at the time of the crash. And a Northern Michigan University graduate has made the United States Nordic Skiing World Championship team. Zach Ketterson, class of 2021, is one of the 8 skiers that will represent Team USA at the 2025 FIS Nordic World Ski Championships. Ketterson was a 3-time NCAA All-American over 4 seasons with the Wildcat ski team. The NMU alum has previously represented the Stars and Stripes at the 2020 World Juniors and U23 World Championships alongside the 2022 World Cup. The Nordic World Ski Championships will be held in Trondheim, Norway, beginning on February 27th and ending on March 9th.
This Valentine's Day, many pet owners need to consider what their pets can have for the holiday. The Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development is reminding pet owners the best ways to keep pets safe and healthy during this holiday. State veterinarian Nora Wineland said the best way to show love to our pets this holiday is making sure they don't have additional stress or discomfort. Also making sure the vaccines are up to date and not giving pets treats they can't eat. Here are the 5 easy tips to keep pets safe during this time. Avoid giving them chocolate or any other candy. Keep holiday decorations out of reach. Make sure bouquets are pet friendly with buying flowers safe for them. Share the love, not germs, by keeping animals vaccinated. And consider donating to the Animal Welfare Fund. And Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel is warning Michiganders about a recent consumer scam. Scammers claiming to be government entities are calling residents to tell them they have missed jury duty and must post bond. Government agencies will never call, email, or text you about missing jury duty. Agencies will never request personal information or demand money over the phone. These scams have been happening across the state, claiming to be different agencies. The best course of action is when you receive this call and you suspect a scam, hang up and verify if this is a government agency. Other advice is to keep silent and block the numbers that call or text. Do not click attachment links, report the scam, and delete the text immediately from your device. Detroit will soon have a new police chief after going through a long stretch. CBS News' Elaine Rajas Castillo has more.
After a nationwide search, Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan makes his pick, selecting Todd Bettison as his choice for the city's next police chief.
Thank you to Mayor Duggan for your confidence in me, sir. For your confidence in, allowing me to continue to serve this great city, the greatest city in America, which is Detroit.
On Monday, Mayor Duggan gave his seal of approval to the interim chief, who took over the force last November after former Chief James White's resignation.
Nobody gave him anything. He worked his way up the ranks, one step at a time.
Mayor Duggan cites acting Chief Bettison's effective leadership amid department changes and a 20% drop in the city's homicide rate over the last 3 months as key factors in his recommendation.
You didn't see anybody bolting for other places. That team stayed unified behind him. They continued to do an excellent job.
Bettison has served with the Detroit Police Department for 27 years, including as first assistant chief under White before stepping down in 2022 to become deputy mayor. Duggan's recommendation came after reviewing the Board of Police Commissioners' 2 other candidates, Joel Fitzgerald, a longtime police chief in several cities across the country, and Joshua Wallace, commander of Chicago's criminal network group.
Todd Bettison has had a chance to prove himself and in the way he's conducted himself in the community.
In his remarks, Bettison thanked the numerous community partners he has worked with throughout his career and made his mission as Detroit's top cop clear.
It's about keeping everyone safe. If you live in the city of Detroit, if you're visiting the city of Detroit, if you're a police officer, no matter who you are, you're a senior citizen or you're a youth, it's about keeping you safe.
Now, the Detroit City Council has 30 days to vote on Duggan's recommendation. Elaine Rojas Castillo, CBS News Detroit.
After this break, we'll be back with your weather and statewide news. Stay tuned.
There are thousands of discoveries. Wow.
This is huge. We are making history.
This is really exciting.
Only a handful of people on this planet have actually seen that behavior.
Here they come.
It's amazing.
It's not every day that you find a brand new cemetery.
This is the first time I see something like this.
Welcome to your Public Eye Weather Report. I'm your host, Toby Camilli. Looking at our roof cam, the conditions are snowy. You can see some gray clouds. And looking across the UP, starting in Houghton, it is 16 degrees and cloudy. Ironwood is 12 degrees and partly cloudy. Iron Mountain is 12 degrees and cloudy. Menominee has the same conditions and 17 degrees. And moving across to the east side of the UP, in Escanaba and Manistee, it is snowy. Escanaba at 17 degrees and Manistee at 20 degrees. And over in Sault Ste. Marie, it is 16 degrees and cloudy. And in our lovely Marquette, it is 17 degrees and the same conditions. And looking into Marquette's current conditions, the wind is currently coming from the northeast at 4 miles per hour, and the barometric pressure is 30.19 inches and falling. Looking into tonight, the weather will be 12 degrees and snowy. The winds will be coming from the northwest at 12 miles per hour, and the moon phase will be a full moon, so make sure to get a look at that. Looking into tomorrow, it will be snowy, highs of 15 and lows of -2, and the winds will be coming from the northwest at 18 miles per hour. And looking into the weekend, on Friday, it will be partly cloudy with highs of 18 and lows of 16. On Saturday, we will see highs of 23 and lows of 9 and snowy conditions. Sunday, we will have the same conditions at a high of 12 and a low of -3. That's all I have for weather. Back to the desk.
Thank you so much for that weather update, Toby. It is certainly prime time weather conditions, winter weather conditions here in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Moving into some statewide news, Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson has announced that he intends to run for governor of Michigan in 2026. Swanson announced his candidacy for governor in an interview with the Associated Press, marking his first gubernatorial bid and his first step into politics. Swanson has garnered national attention over the last few years after marching with Black Lives Matter protesters in 2020 and speaking at the Democratic National Convention in 2024. Swanson's bid comes at a time where the Democratic Party looks to find a new candidate for governor, as incumbent Gretchen Whitmer's term will be up next year. The Genesee County Sheriff has stated that he plans to address Michigander voter concerns such as immigration and public safety during his campaign. And the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, or MDARD, is encouraging owners to protect their flocks as new cases of avian bird flu continue to rise throughout the state. As wild birds begin their spring migration, MDARD is strongly encouraging owners to prevent any contact between wild birds with their flocks and domestic animals from happening, stating that it needs to remain a top priority. MDARD has provided some helpful tips on what to do to prevent the spread of avian bird flu. Washing your hands before and after caring for animals, disinfecting clothing and equipment, and keeping feet away from pests or wildlife are some of the tips provided. To access more tips and information, you can visit michigan.gov/MDARD. And Pennsylvania school teacher Mark Fogel is a free man this morning after arriving back on U.S. soil from Russia late last night. He had been wrongfully detained since 2021, but was released as part of a deal negotiated by the Trump administration. From Washington, Natalie Brandt has more.
I feel like the luckiest man on earth right now.
Mark Fogel celebrated his release at the White House, saying love and support sustained him for 3.5 years in a Russian prison.
Knowing I had the support of my fellow Pennsylvanians, my family, my friends, it was so overwhelming. I will forever be indebted to President Trump.
The Pennsylvania teacher was arrested at the airport in Moscow in 2021 for having marijuana. His family said it was for medical reasons.
Mr. Witkoff, could you take a couple quick questions?
President Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, helped negotiate the deal and says Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was instrumental.
Behind the scenes, he was encouraging and pushing and looking for the right result, and it was helpful. It really was.
President Trump didn't divulge what the deal with Russia entailed, but called it fair. The Kremlin says a Russian citizen behind bars in the U.S. had been freed as part of the swap.
I just got dizzy. I thought, did I get this right?
Mark Fogel's 95-year-old mother says this day has been a long time coming.
I just want to see him. I just want to touch him. He will be a basket case. He will just cry and cry and cry.
President Trump said he believes Fogel's release could help play a role in advancing cooperation with Russia to end the war in Ukraine. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
And we'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned.
When you put voices together, there's an energy in the air.
Keeping Black traditions alive, it's so important.
The story was meant to be told.
This feels so good.
Black people can also have those stories too.
All this and more, now streaming on the PBS app.
Welcome back to Public Eye Sports. I'm your host, Luke Niddle, and I'll be taking you through our Wednesday breakdown. Leading off on the hardwood, the Detroit Pistons took care of business last night against the Chicago Bulls, wiping the floor 132-92. Motown showed off their muscle by getting out to a 42-point lead at halftime, the largest in franchise history. On the flip side, Chicago couldn't have hit a shot even if the rim was 5 feet wider, missing their first 20 triple attempts in a row, another franchise record. Cade Cunningham paved the way for the impressive win with 20 points, 6 boards, and 7 assists. Additionally, Malik Beasley knocked down 7 for 10 behind the line, good enough to break the Pistons' record for threes in a season with 212. Both teams have retooled for tonight's 8 p.m. rematch, this time in Chicago. And moving west to Ann Arbor, the Michigan Wolverines shocked the Purdue Boilermakers and the rest of the Big Ten with a 75-73 upset over the number 7 team in the nation. Usually the Spoilermakers themselves, Purdue couldn't quite manage a last-second shot by Braden Smith to give them the win. Purdue was also killed by the lack of bench scoring, as all 73 points came from their starters, getting outplayed by Michigan's bench 21-0. As for U of M, it marks yet another milestone in the remarkable turnaround of the Wolverine basketball program. At this point last year, the team sat at 8-16 and dead last in conference play. Now, the Wolverines lived up to the W and sit lonely atop the Big Ten. And ending off even further west in the Breslin Center, the number 11 Michigan State Spartans themselves were upset by unranked Indiana 71-67. The presence of Bobby Knight was clearly in the building last night, as a win by MSU would have broken the tie of most conference wins ever held by both Knight and Tom Izzo with 353. For the Spartans, even more scary was their three-point percentage at a horrific 17.9%. The off-night emphasizes state shooting woes throughout the season, as they've only eclipsed 40% or better on 10-plus three-point attempts twice this season and only made 10 or more triples once. The Spartans will regroup and clash with the Fighting Illini this Saturday. That's all I have for sports. Back to the news desk.
Thank you, Luke, for that sports update. How about the Detroit Pistons, Austin?
It has been phenomenal to see their turnaround. I mean, from a year ago being dead last in the NBA to at the All-Star, coming up on the All-Star break, they might make the playoffs. Here you have an extra story. What do you think about the Pistons?
I think they're doing pretty good. I think that's they're shaping up and getting ready.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's nice to see that they've turned things around here in the last year or so. I definitely wouldn't have thought they would have been where they're at today. That's all the time we have at Public Eye News. I'm Austin Graham.
And I'm Bianca Kroll.
We'll see you next time.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.